your Natural Healer channel. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Tammy, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Crystal Educational Series. And in this episode, we're going to learn all about Eudialyte. So if you're ready, let's dig in. Eudialyte is a very complex silicate material, and it most commonly forms in granular patterns. It is usually found within like coarse grained rocks, and it does contain calcium, cerium, sodium, iron, manganese, zirconium, and yttrium, which is spelled Yttrium. Now, Eudialyte is a cyclosilicate material, and silicates, they're minerals which contain the elements of silicon. Which is a really light gray, shiny metal. And it also contains oxygen, which is a colorless gas. And together, these two elements, they form a tetrahedron. And that's a shape very similar to a pyramid, with a silicon atom in the center and oxygen atoms at each of the four corners. These tetrahedrons connect with other chemical structures in 6 different ways to form various materials and rocks. So there are 6 main groups of silicate minerals, and Eudialyte belongs to the cyclosilicate group. Now, this stone can range in color from pink to red to brown, violet, and even green. And sometimes it'll have inclusions of black tourmaline within it. It's principally mined as a minor ore for zirconium, but with some pretty crystals are set aside for the collector market. Eudialyte is formed in silica poor but alkaline-rich igneous rocks. That was a mouthful. These rocks, they appear in areas of continental rifting where 2 tectonic plates are moving away from one another, creating a valley. And these areas, they tend to have active volcanoes. In other words, these rocks are due to the presence of a hot spot, an unusually hot position on the Earth that is separate from the tectonic plates, such as the Hawaiian Islands and Yellowstone. It is thought that a hot spot on the Kola Peninsula of Russia is responsible for the eudialytes that are formed in Russia and nearby Scandinavia countries. Most of the eudialyte on the market does come from the far north, primarily Russia, but it can also come from Greenland. Eudialyte contains a trace amount of uranium, a fact that really worries a lot of crystal healers. But I'm going to tell you the truth about the uranium in the eudialyte and set the record straight. The dosage of uranium in eudialyte is laughably small. Holding a tumbled piece of eudialyte has very minor radioactive elements. And if you held it for 4 hours, it would expose you to 0.1 mREMs. That's M as in Michael, R-E, M as in Michael, S. And that's a scale of radioactivity. So 0.1. Now, to compare it, if we compare it to eating a banana, which bananas, if you don't know it, are mildly radioactive due to the potassium content, So for perspective, radiologists, people that do x-rays and things like that work in. So eudialyte, it is a relatively new stone for the metaphysical community, because it's not really, well, it is not mentioned or included in any older lapidaries, which are texts that describe gemstones and their power. So, for example, like lapis lazuli. So, in terms of that, eudialyte is considered relatively new. Its name comes from the Greeks, and I will apologize if I butcher this. I took Latin, 2 years of Latin in high school, but I'm no expert. So it's U-E-U and dilatos, D-I-A-L-Y-T-O-S, which means well decomposable. And it's a reference to the fact that this mineral readily dissolves in acid. Now, don't go and purchase a piece of Eudialyte and start throwing it in acid. Please do not do that. Eudialyte was formally described in 1819. So it's just a little over 200 years known to the metaphysical community. And it was originally found in Greenland. Now, other significant deposits were soon identified afterwards, especially on the Kola Peninsula of Russia and on Mount St. Hilaire in Quebec, Canada. And again, I apologize if I mispronounced that. And more recently, Eudialyte deposits were found in Brazil and some countries in southern Africa, and also the Sami, Sami, and again, if I butcher it, I apologize. These were the indigenous people of the Arctic Circle, and their territory did include that Kola Peninsula in Russia, as well as northern Finland, Norway, and Sweden. And they've known about Eudialyte for many, many centuries. To them, Eudialyte's proper name is Sami blood. And according to Sami folklore, once upon a time, the Sami fought with Swedish soldiers, and many of the Sami were killed, and their blood was scattered all across the tundra of the Arctic Circle where the battle took place. So, in their culture, they say the blood froze and formed this beautiful stone that we now call Eudialyte. All right, so if you're interested in geology, this is the mineralogy of Eudialyte, and I'm not going to read through each of these. Especially I'm not going to read that chemical formula because that is a bunch of alphabet soup there. But anyway, you can go through this if you need to pause the video, take some notes, or take a screenshot if you're watching it on your phone. If that's something you're interested in, here's pretty much everything you would really want to know. One of the things in the metaphysical community, we do usually from this, sometimes we'll talk about the Mohs hardness scale, and that's in the center. And this crystal has a Mohs hardness of 5 to 6, which is kind of in the middle. The Mohs hardness scale runs from 0 to 10, 0 being very soft, and 10 being super, super hard. So as you can see, 5 to 6, it's kind of in the middle. So Eudialyte is associated with both the root and the heart chakras. And it really invites us to see ourselves through the eyes of the divine and to know ourselves to be truly beautiful and worthy, capable of following our heart's paths. And it activates our true life force and opens up our heart. So it links the root and the heart chakra together so that we're inspired to the greatness that, we're destined to be. It really teaches us to recognize and honor our gifts and to share them with the world. Eudialyte, it really is an excellent stone for manifesting abundance and moving from merely surviving into thriving. All right, this is not a mistake. This is not an error. This is a black screen because the planetary association with Eudialyte, there is none. So I was like trying to be creative. I was like, what can I do for that? And I was like, you know what? Just it is what it is. There's none. So anyway, there is no planetary association. All right, so let's talk about the zodiac. And Eudialyte's associated with Virgo. Now, everybody always thinks that when people come into my shop and I have informational cards out for all the crystals, and I always place on it, the zodiac sign information. And so, for example, if they look at this, they think right away, oh, it's a Virgo stone. And that's not what it means. Every zodiac sign has a particular dominant energy. And so in crystals, when we say, oh, Eudialyte is associated with Virgo, it means it draws on Virgo energy. And I'm not going to go into a deep dive here, but Virgo energy, some of the qualities are they're very analytical people, they're serving, and they can tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. So If you're looking to add some of those things into your life, then, Eudialyte might be the stone for you, or any Virgo stone. And the elemental association for Eudialyte, it has two, which makes sense because, as we said, it's a root chakra and a heart chakra crystal. So, earth, which is associated with the root chakra, and earth, elemental energy, it's about abundance and stability, and solidity. And then water energy. Now, water is actually associated with the sacral chakra, but as far as elemental energy, water is about emotions. Um, Emotions, dreams, healing, intuition, things of that nature. So, and emotions, heart chakra. So, as you can see, how the elemental association does play in with the chakras. If you're into numerology, the number that is associated with Eudialyte is the number 8. Eudialyte has a really deep connection with soul relationships, and it's able to show us the purpose in each one of these soul relationships. Remember, we all have a soul family. And again, I'm not going to deep dive into what a soul family is, but Eudialyte can really help you with that soul family and the connections. It shows us soul companions of the past and helping to reveal the reason for meeting these people and their purpose in our life, whether they're still with us in the physical realm or not. And when meditating or sleeping with Eudialyte, it really can grant you insight as to why certain soulmates may be rejecting you, or whether or not they truly are soulmates. So many times I hear people, especially in romantic relationships, oh, he's my soulmate, and they're not. So if you find, and one of the things you got to remember too, guys, is that soulmates are, you have more than one soulmate, and they're not all romantic relationships or romantic connections. So please remember that. So if you're curious, use a piece of Eudialyte, meditate with it, sleep with it, because we do get messages through our dreams. Set that intention, and it can help you see if whether or not this person is or is not a soulmate. Now, in cases where you feel an extreme attraction to someone, as I said, this stone can help you figure out whether Eudialyte really encourages us to have a warrior spirit and to recognize our own bravery and excellent self-worth that we have. It helps us to be in the present moment. And again, that's that root chakra coming in, and to feel hopeful for the future. It can help you vanquish fear, it can help soften sorrow, and it can dissolve scarcity thinking. It helps us to remove any emotional blocks which prevent us from moving forward in a positive direction. Eudialyte, it encourages us to be generous with our love, our money, time, and other resources that we have, but never to the point where it is detrimental to your own health and well-being. Instead, Eudialyte teaches us to give from a place of abundance and love, while also having sensible and strong boundaries. And oh my gosh, is that so important? During times of conflict, Eudialyte can help us resolve issues quickly and fairly, and then return to a state of emotional harmony and peace. Eudialyte teaches us to think clearly and proactively, and that is important. There's one of my favorite phrases, couldn't get that out there, is be proactive and not reactive. Now, we can't always know and plan for everything, and that's just not feasible. But when we are reactive to things, we normally we don't think when we react. It's just instantaneously. And a lot of times that can cause chaos in many instances. So Eudialyte can help us with that. It helps us resist the urge to engage also in destructive self-criticism. So if you're somebody, and I do it myself, if you do negative self-talk, Eudialyte can help break you of that habit. It really is great for that. And that's where it pulls in that heart chakra. It can erase boredom, and it invites you to be more curious, to be creative and intellectually engaged. It's an excellent stone for anybody who wants to change the world. So if you're a social activist, an entrepreneur, a dreamer, or even a risk taker, use Eudialyte. Keep it with you. It will definitely help you. It's also an excellent stone for anyone with a hectic lifestyle and who needs to pause and reassess priorities and activities. And that's probably most of us. And I always say that the more technology advances, the more I feel like I have less time and that I'm feeling more scattered and hectic. So Udilite can help, again, root you, bringing you into that present moment and to help you prioritize and reassess. Excuse me. Udilite also helps to dismiss activities and tasks which are not necessary and to work on tasks that are more beneficial. So basically, again, it's that wasting your time. Okay, why do this? It's not important when you could do this. So it can help you to disseminate, which is it's better for you. And it also helps you to enjoy the process better, to enjoy the mental stimulation of working towards a goal and finding the satisfaction in the job well done at the end. Eudialyte unites our life force with our heart so that our work. Eudialyte encourages us to be body positive and not engage in shame or guilt about our outer appearance. So we already talked about it can help break that negative self-talk. And I myself have done that, especially being overweight. You look in the mirror and you'll start saying, oh my gosh, you look like this, or, how have you let it gotten this bad, or whatever the case is. And that's good. Negative self-talk in any form is not good because it affects us even on a cellular level. It affects our energetic field, and this is how, this kind of negativity brings disease into our life. So if you're someone that really struggles with a body positive image, Eudialyte can help you work through that. Okay. This crystal will ask you to be more loving towards your own body and to pay attention to the parts that you like rather than fixating on all your flaws. It's also a very powerful talisman for anyone who is hovering on the edge of life or death. So it can be a very comforting stone for someone. For the elderly or the critical ill, can help ease the passage between life or death. And I know this, is something people don't like to talk about, but if we do have a loved one that is on that brink, this can really help their energetic field to balance it and stabilize it and create harmony so that they can pass over um, with dignity and grace. On the other hand, for premature babies and critically young people or critically ill young people, excuse me, is what I was trying to say, it can offer strength and stability and vitality for them to help. So it is a transformation stone in certain regards. So, premature babies who are coming into this life or very young children who are new to this life, if they are critically ill, this stone can help them stay into this lifetime and really strengthen and stabilize that energy. Eudialyte is also a good talisman for anybody that has any pancreas issues or nervous system, excuse me, Now, Eudialyte can be used with some other stones, some companion stones, and it will really work well with any crystal that's in its quote unquote family. Um, so that would be that cyclosilicate family, cyclosilicate minerals. So you can always try Eudialyte in combinations with aquamarine, dioptase, emerald, iolite, morganite, sugilite, and tourmaline. And other than working with crystals in its quote unquote family, if you wanted to use it with um, other crystals or what I like to call friends, um, and they're pretty much like crystals that are formed in the same geological environment, then I would suggest try pairing it with Masonite. And you can also try other combinations, but these of what I found professionally have worked really, really well. All right, so I hope that you learned something about Eudialyte. It is a phenomenal stone. It's a pretty stone. And it's just got such a great, great energy about it. I can't say enough. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, go live your best life, but do it the natural way. Namaste.